Welcome back to BSLIVE. Today we're gonna be exploring Fractal again and Mandelbulbs to be specific. So Mandelbulb is a three-dimensional manifestation of Mandelbrot set. We can take a look at some examples by Googling. We're not gonna be recreating this from scratch, but basically we're gonna generate this using an app called Mandelbulber 2, and this actually works with Mac M1 just recently. So you can basically go to GitHub Mandelbulber and get the latest and find the one for Mac OS M1 and you should be good to go. Alright, and you're gonna try to bring it inside Blender so we can render it nicely. So it's gonna be like a 3D objects that you can generate. Okay, this is you can see this is the mesh version, and this one is the point cloud or bubble tea versions of this. You can play around with the size of the radius, and I also have these animations going on. Okay, let's see how to create this. First of all, once you download Mandelbulber, you're gonna see it comes with a lot of presets and a lot of parameters. It might be scary at first, but the presets, there's like maybe hundreds of presets that you can start with. Let's see, let's find actually like the basic one, or find the one that's interesting enough. I think this one is okay. Mandelbulb is the basic one. Once you click the preset, if you right click and move around, you can see your fractal Mandelbulb. Okay, and we want to bring this into Blender. You can see the result already here, and this is the real fractal. If you want to render it inside Blender, you need to find like a you need to export it out as mesh, so it's kind of like the baked versions, like a sliced version of the fractal. So let's try doing that. Export mesh. Let's save into directory. So, okay, oh okay, it's asking for permissions. So let's save this as Mandel X001. Save. So by default, there's an export options. Resolution is set at 100, and let's just export it out. So it says, okay, export is finished. We have 1264 polygons. It's very low resolutions. Let's try doubling, actually just make this resolution 500 and save it as different resolutions. Export it again. This time it takes a bit longer, 15 seconds. So it's doing most of the job for us. Actually it crashes. Interesting. Yeah, sometimes this app crashes somehow. I don't know why. Maybe let's try 250, resolution 300, and just export it. So that's Mandel X2, save, resolution 300, export. This time it works. I don't know why. Occasionally it crashes. Let's just double this again. Save it as different name. Hopefully this doesn't crash. So we're gonna have like a multiple objects. Each one of them with different resolutions. This might have like 50,000 polygons. Sometimes it goes really high, like 1 million polygons, and the file size become really large. But anyway, let's take a look. Okay, file, import, PLY. We have 3 different PLY from Mandelbulb. So let's just bring it in. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. 3 different resolutions, and you can go higher and higher. Let's see. I think let's try 1200. Okay. Oh, actually, it might be too large. 900. Save as different name. Export. Whilst doing this, it's gonna end in about 1.5 minutes. We can take a look. Blender. So this guy comes as PLY, standard PLY, and I'm gonna save this. So Mandel X. Each one of them should have color attributes. It has UV, but okay, we can take a look from the spreadsheet. Yeah, inside the face corner we already have the color data. The color, however, is not between 0 and 1. Be careful with this. It's actually a kind of like RGB value. It's quite large. It's integer. Anyway, if you want to render this out, you can switch to cycles and create a material. And just use you can use color attributes actually. And this is gonna give you drag and drop for the attributes. Okay, this one works. This guy and this guy, we need to link the material. Command L, link the materials. Now we have all of them with a color. This is one example of Mandelbulb. We can create light. Maybe floor. Now we have a 3D fractal that you can actually print out or render it differently. Like for example, if you are, instead of using principle, maybe you want to use like glass and just plug this in. I think with the latest, with Blender, I'm using Blender 3.2 beta. Okay, now we have new pop-up art. This one seems to be already rendering the caustics, right? You might actually, you might need to turn on cast shadow caustics to be more accurate. And with the sun, you want to actually enable shadow caustics, and the floor. With the floor also you need to enable receive shadow caustics. It seems to be disappearing. I mean, it disappears, but I think it's more accurate. Okay, well, maybe just use sky texture and maybe you get more proper caustics. Okay, adjust the sun rotations. Now we have like a glass looking Mandelbrot. This one is kind of neat looking, like a diamonds. Now, okay, I think the app crashes again. It cannot calculate too high resolutions. Let's try actually just find a different presets. This is Mandelbulb 3, 4. There's one that's looking like a donuts. Mandeltorus, okay. Mandeltorus is cool. It's looking like a sea creatures. File, export mesh. Desktop. Mandeltorus. Resolution, let's try again. Export 100, 400. Let's say, hopefully this one doesn't crash. Okay, 200,000 polygons, not bad. 1,000. I'm gonna go higher this time. Okay. Okay, now if I want to render this as pearl, let's duplicate this guy. I want to render this as point cloud pearl. If we just use mesh to points, now this supposedly will already render as pearl. Okay, so I'm gonna create a new material, set material to 3. However, we don't get the color right away, as you will see. If I go to the shader, material 3, if I try to plug in color attributes, we get like a black color. You can import it using like a custom PLY that I mentioned it in the previous video. I'm gonna show it to you anyway. It's okay. This one's still rendering. It's gonna take like 3 minutes. Okay, that's fine. I will use Blender 3.3. I go inside and I will replace the Python script add-on. This PLY, I'll replace it with a new one, which is the custom one from GitHub. So if we gonna try to find in downloads and search for PLY, I have this import PLY as verts and copy paste and replace the one in Blender. Now I'm gonna open Blender 3.3 with a custom PLY importer. File, import. We have a different importer now, and we can turn on vertex and colors only. You will see this is gonna give you a different result. We have the Mandeltorus. This one 7.6 megabyte, so it's quite high. Yeah, we get it as the vertices. We still have the vertex color attributes, and we're ready to render. Switch to cycles, create light, sunlight, and render. Oh, okay. Give us nothing for now, so let's save as Mandeltorus. Switch to geometry nodes, mesh to points. Okay, this will give us the Mandeltorus. We need to set the material, and then with this material we need to assign the attribute. I think the color attributes or geometry attributes. Okay, cool. Finally, we have color. It's seems like a lot of steps, but you will see the data here is slightly different. See the color? The color, this one is between 0 and 1. It's already normalized, which is a good thing. Yeah, it's normalized color, so it's a maybe this is what you want. It's simpler to do. But the example that I have earlier, import PLY, you can also do this manually. Like you can convert this color into attributes that you can render. So let me show you. Yeah, like this. So this one I didn't use custom PLY importer. I simply transfer the color manually. So mesh to point, set material, and transfer the attributes from the original call. This is the this not normalized color, and then I just pass it into the attributes for geometry to render. So we can render this mesh as like a bubble. Okay. On top of this, I'm using the molecular nodes, which is just another add-on from Brady A. Johnson. I mentioned about this before. So using this, we can add a bit of animations on top of our fractal points. You can scale the amplitude, scale the noise, and then just animate it. So we have this, if we use scene time, we can have this kind of motions. Let's play around with the scale and the amplitude. Right, so the fractal is like a animated point cloud now. It's like some kind of organism. Okay, so it's pretty cool. I want to render this out. It's not currently real time. So ideally, all this kind of stuff, the fractal generation and the rendering, currently it's kind of like a bake versions. This is something that you can, of course, print out as 3D, or maybe turn it into AR experience. But ideally, somehow this could work inside like a game engine like Unity, Unreal, of course, and so the fractal can be generated on the fly and rendered as well at the same time. So it's pretty crazy. So let's see, before I go too far. Anyway, I think the app actually crashes again, the torus somehow. Maybe I don't have enough memory. But we have Mandel Torus 1 and Mandel Torus 2. The third one crashes. Very strange. Let's recover. File, export mesh. Maybe it was too high. Mandel Torus 3. Save, export. Maybe it doesn't like it when the app is currently active and I switch to Blender and then it crashes. Yeah, I know. It just crashes itself. Anyway, this is Blender 3.3 alpha and I already have the importer here. That's the custom importer. If I switch back to this guy over here, we're gonna try to import the Mandel Torus. File, import. This is using the default importer for PLY. This is our torus. It comes as a mesh, right? And if you render, no material, but we can simply get it from this guy. So this and this. Link material. Now this guy have material, but want to have this type of treatment. So just copy the modifier, and then it should just work. Now it's becoming like the bubble. You see here inside the modifier, it's transferring the attribute color and then pass it into the bubble. So the bubble itself will have radius, so I'm gonna pipe the radius outside. Gonna have like a bigger bubble for this. Create a new point light there, and you're gonna have like a big value. Oh, I wonder why it's so dark. I have a feeling this one we need to increase the number of light path. Oh yeah, anyway, the animations worked, and then the mesh seems to work from Mandelbulb. Yeah, I'm just curious why it keeps on crashing, because last night I managed to export something that's really large, like gigabytes. Mandeltorus. We try this one. There's also like a spherical Mandelbrot that it's looking really nice. Okay, sphere 3. Okay, this one is looking like a broccoli. File, export mesh. I'm gonna increase this 300. So sphere, Mandel, export. There's also this option, max iterations, that you might need to play around with. This one is pretty small. I might need to increase this to 1200. This one's gonna take like 11 minutes. However, yeah, let's stop this. 600. File, export as. Yeah, this one will take around 1 minute. Yeah, the only thing that, okay, it takes sometimes to do the export. Like I said, so it would be nicer if this is like real time. It's generating fractal in real time and then rendering the result as well for us in real time, and then we can manipulate the points like inside Blender. Maybe you just need the right like machine with a lot of RAM and graphic power. Hopefully this doesn't crash. We're gonna end up with just 10,000 polygons, which is not too big. It's pretty small. Okay, only 900. Yeah, it's pretty small. File, import, PLY, sphere, Mandel. So we have two versions. Okay, this one is really low resolutions. This one's a bit higher. It's the one that looking like a broccoli. Yeah, pretty small. Let's duplicate this. Command L, copy the materials, and then copy the modifier. This one, yeah, it comes like this. I really quite like this. It's looking like a diamonds. This one's looking like a bubble, and we can increase the radius. And this one, of course, we can play around with the noise value as well. Scale this, play with amplitude. Okay, so we have animated point cloud fractals over here. Yeah, I think anyway it's quite pretty. I think I should go even larger with this. I'm gonna try 1200 or something. It's gonna take a while, however, so I might just gonna stop 12 minutes. Sometimes it goes to 1 hour, but I just don't like it when it crashes. So yeah, so that's basically the setup and the import and all kind of weird stuff that you need to do in order to process it. But this is really, it comes as preset for you. There's a lot of preset from Mandelbulber, or we can call it Mandelboba, and I think this being developed over time, and occasionally there's an update. This is version 2.27 that I'm using with Xcode 12. Maybe they need to upgrade to Xcode 13, but yeah, that's the things with all the software and app development. It's gonna improve over time, and it's still pretty amazing to be able to do this fractal, like really complex fractals. So generate your 3D fractals, export it out, and play around with this sample counts, etc. Bring it into Blender, and you can render it however you like. So I just changed the sun size, and suddenly we can see more color from our fractal. Okay, the sun size is too big. Oh yeah, exposures. Of course, I was playing around with this exposure a little bit before. That's why it was too dark. Now it's a bit brighter, and you might see some caustic somewhere. The floor is a bit shiny. Anyhow, that's the Mandelbulb 2, Mandelbulber app 2 that works with Mac M1. Maybe I need M1 Ultra in order to render this faster, and how you can bring it into Blender and render this out. Alright, so hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.